crowd tonight, listen to me, today. I had a nap this afternoon. I think I messed with my head. A lot of new people, if I'm not mistaken. So feel free to say hi in the chat. Let me know where you are, because I'm also trying to suss out when is the best time to host these. And I don't know if we have mostly UK people or if there's an international crowd. So it looks like a lot of British folks. I am British, despite my, I've lived in London for, I think, 13 years. So yeah, I am British, even if I sound weird. For people who don't know who I am, my name is Maria. I've been writing, probably since I was 4, really, because my parents found this story in their attic that I dictated to them at the age of 4. I couldn't even write yet, but it was about Peter Pan and dinosaurs. And yeah, even though this group is in English, I'll be giving all our instructions in English. If you have another native language that you like to write in, obviously you can do that. No one is going to be reading what you write today. We're not going to force you. If you do like what you have written, then obviously do take it forward, keep honing it, and then, maybe get it published one day. Or not. The idea for these exercises is that they are exercises. So this is like going to the gym. This is us working out our creative muscles. So there's a lot of ideas generation, prompted writing, character building, just like story plotting, kind of minimally. So if you do come up with something that you like, keep working on it. But also there's no pressure for any of it to be good. So the more important thing, I think, is that you just write. So it doesn't have to be good. It doesn't even have to make sense. Just kind of write. Don't stop yourself, basically, is what I'm saying. A lot of us have issues with our self-censor coming in and saying, oh no, that's a bad idea. Or, oh no, don't use that word. Or, oh no, just try your best to ignore them today, or at least for this hour and a half. Give yourself a break. So I hope this is fun. I hope this is creative and inspiring, and a chance for you to nurture that more playful aspect of the creative self. So I know it's easier said than done, but do try to not be hard on yourselves today. All right, just catching up on all the messages. Great, okay. So I'll get us started. I will do my best to keep an eye on the chat, so if anyone has questions or anything they want to say to me, put it in the chat. Before we wrap up, I'll give everyone a chance to unmute themselves and speak a little bit before we say goodbye. Just so everyone's aware of the format, it's going to be roughly an hour of guided prompts, and then the final 30 minutes, you can work on whatever you like. I will also give some prompts for the final 30, so you don't have to feel under any pressure to come up with something to write, because I'm going to give you lots of hopefully interesting ideas. Okay, so I've got a little just PowerPoint thing I put together so that I don't get off track. And for these sessions, I like to start off with a quote that's related to our theme. Our theme is opposites. And I found this interesting quote from a physicist named Niels Bohr. He's no longer with us. I think he died in the 60s. And he is quoted as saying, "The opposite of a fact is falsehood, but the opposite of one profound truth may very well be another profound truth." So I wanted to share that because I thought that kind of encapsulates what I want us to do today with this idea of opposites. So opposites are not, it's not like yes and no or true and false. I think there's more of a spectrum. So I like that this quote makes us think about how opposites can be contradictory but true. He says it better than me, obviously. So so I wanted to share that with us as a kind of guiding quote to get us thinking about how to play with opposites today in our writing. All right, so our first writing prompt is going to be a little bit of journaling. So please have your notebooks out or whatever you will be writing with. And I'm going to give you 5 minutes to kind of reflect on what your opposite life would be. So thinking about the life you're living now, what would the exact opposite life be? Describe as much detail as you possibly can, and just see if that unlocks anything interesting. So I'll give you 5 minutes. I'll mute myself, catch up on the messages, and then we'll move on to the next exercise. Okay, wrap up the sentence you're on. Any of these exercises, you can come back to them at the end. So if you feel like there's more to explore, you can do so later. But just wrap it up for now. Okay. So I like to start with journaling in these groups and also when I'm writing on my own, just because we know ourselves better than we know anyone else, at least I think. And if we know ourselves well and we're reflecting on our thoughts, our feelings, our experiences, and what have you, it'll make it easier, I think, to then build characters realistically and to understand them inside and out. So that's why we always start with a reflection on ourselves. Okay, back to my thingy. Okay, I want us to think a little bit about the expression opposites attract. Okay, I think we've all probably heard that. It's a really common expression. Do you think there's some truth in it? Is it a bit more complex than that? Just think about that idea of opposites attract. And then I would like you to create a little character sketch. So I'm going to share an image of a guy who's going to be your character. Here's our guy. All of these images are AI generated art by my partner. So thank God, I think he has the actual real number of fingers on the hand, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. So if any of these people look odd, it's because of AI. So here's our character. And I just want you to create a little sketch about him, just filling in his biographical details, basically. So I gave some ideas to think about at the bottom of the picture, but you can add whatever else comes to you. So first you're going to create a character sketch for this guy. And then you're going to imagine, there's not an image for this one, you're going to imagine another character who is his opposite. Okay, so you're creating two character sketches. One is this guy, and one is his opposite. So I'll let you do that for another 5 minutes, and then I'll explain what happens next. Okay, wrap up what you're writing. And I'll explain the next part. If you feel like you still need to develop these characters before doing the next part, that's fine. Keep doing that. There's a question in the chat about this man's opposite, and I'm not going to answer it because that is for you to decide. Okay, so you've got two characters, and when you feel like you know them well enough that you can write a little scene with them, I want you to imagine that they are meeting for the first time in this space. Okay? Up to you how, why, what happens, but they're meeting for the first time. So there's no, like I said, there's no pressure in these sessions, so you don't have to start writing some sort of brilliant story. You can just jot down ideas as they come to you. You can outline a plot. You could just roughly write some dialogue in like script style, or you can start crafting a beautiful short story. You know, so whatever is calling to you. Okay, so you're going to have these two characters meeting for the first time in this spot. I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. So that'll give you time to finish creating these characters if you haven't finished yet, and then to write a little bit about their first meeting. So I will start the timer now. There's 1 minute left for anyone curious. Okay, so wrap up what you're doing. I'm gonna go back to the previous slide because someone was asking if they could see the guy again. So if anyone wants to take a screen grab of this gentleman, feel free to do that now. Okay, I'm going to stop the share for a moment, so hopefully they now have that image. So thinking about this concept of characters as opposites, I just want to speak a little bit about the literary device of the foil. So maybe you've heard this term before. If you studied literature, you probably heard it. If not, you probably haven't. So this is like a literary way of saying opposite. It's a character in a story or a play or a film, what have you, who provides a contrast to your main character. Sometimes the foil is also the antagonist, meaning they're the ones preventing your main character from getting what they want, but not always. Sometimes they're the friend, sometimes they're a colleague. So they're not always the antagonist. Those could be two different characters, but you can also put them into the same one. It's a really useful tool to use in a story because it helps to highlight certain aspects of your main character that you want to emphasize in the story. The foil can also provide some impetus to the main character to take action. And in case anyone's like still not like what not getting it, there's some pretty common examples. I think everyone has seen Toy Story. So Woody and Buzz Lightyear would be foils, but Buzz is not the antagonist. He does things that kind of get in the way of what Woody wants, but it's not getting in the way of the overall story resolution. Because in the end they start to work together and whatever, we've all seen it. So the real antagonist, I would say, is Sid, who's that kid who lived next door who like destroys toys. So that's one example of foils. If you're familiar with the Harry Potter books and movies, Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy are foils. So again, Malfoy is not the antagonist, because that would be Voldemort. But he does get involved in that aspect anyway. So those are some pretty familiar examples of foils. So I want to invite you to share some if any are occurring to you now. If you're like, ooh, I think these two characters are foils, put that in the chat, and then that'll help us to all think about this concept. So it could be from a film, a book, a TV series, whatever you can think of. If one comes to you, feel free to share. Oh yeah, another example from literature would be Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. Again, he's not the antagonist. Dr. Watson is not the antagonist, but he is quite opposite of Sherlock Holmes, and his character provides an interesting contrast and helps us to understand Sherlock Holmes's character more. So that's one thing you can do with opposites in characters. What else did I want to say about that? No, that's it. So with these two characters that you've now built, these two opposites, if you wanted to continue exploring these characters in a story, you might want to think about which one would be your main character, and could the other one provide an interesting foil or contrast that would highlight certain personality tendencies or whatever in your main character, or maybe even inspire them to some action. So think about that. Frodo and Gollum, that's a good example. Yeah, Frodo and Gollum, those are foils. I am not familiar with the other TV series and things that are being mentioned, so I can't comment on Doctor Who or Game of Thrones, but there are some examples from those coming in there. Doctor Who and their assistants. I wish I could say I have never seen Doctor Who. Okay, so that's everything I wanted to talk about with opposite characters, and now I want to I guess kind of work with the idea of opposite in a more fluid way. So I'll kind of explain what I mean. Okay, so we've got a few other exercises, maybe just one or two. And I'm going to share, this is a short story. This is a complete short story. It's by Lydia Davis. I've got her collected works here. So she's pretty well known. I'm just finishing up her novel that she wrote in the 90s, but she's really well known for writing, I guess you could call this flash fiction, microfiction. I think someone in the group said that they like flash fiction. So if you don't know Lydia Davis, check her out. So this is a short story, and I'm going to invite you to read it and then to rewrite this story as its opposite. Okay? That might be a little tricky to get the head around, so I want to just say that try not to be too intellectual about it, about transcribing it as its exact literal opposite. Maybe you just want to rewrite the story with opposite characters. So the characters she's described here, you might redo the story with characters who are their opposites. You might rewrite it with opposite actions taking place. So just think about what that could be. You could rewrite it with opposite emotions being experienced. So kind of be free with it, and be creative, be weird if you want. This is your chance to experiment a little bit. And it, like I said at the start, it doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to go anywhere. It doesn't have to be your next big piece. This is kind of an exercise in redrafting, I suppose. I find it really helpful to work with stories that people have written and have published, and kind of tearing them apart and making characters different and making them say different things, making different things happen at the end. Just kind of play with it. So we won't tell Lydia what we're doing to her story unless she finds us on YouTube somehow. But yeah, this is a toy I'm giving to you, and you're going to have some fun with it. Okay? So how much time have we got? I'll give you 10 minutes. Okay? If there are any questions or if anybody gets stuck, you can speak with me in the chat, but all I will do is just encourage you to write what's coming to you and just kind of follow it, and don't overthink it. This is a little bit of an intellectual exercise, but don't over intellectualize it, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'll start the 10 minutes now. There's about a minute and a half left. So if that worries you, don't worry. You can work on it in the final 30 minutes if you do like what you're doing. Okay, so finish up the line you're writing. I will stop the screen share, so if anybody wanted to screenshot this, you do that now. Okay, so I wanted to invite anybody who wants to share what they wrote. You can do that in the chat, but of course there's no requirement for it. I just felt if anybody feels inspired to share, they want to copy paste or even just explain a little bit about what it was like for them. Someone has already done that. So yeah, feel free to share in the chat. I'd love to see what you came up with. Ooh, people already going for it. Awesome. So I'll read those when we do our 30-minute free writing. But there's one final thing I wanted to discuss, and then I'll sort of let you be free and you can write what you like for 30 minutes. To think about I guess our human tendency to conceptualize the world in opposites and like living in a dichotomy of male, female, right, wrong, dark, light, what have you. But the truth is there's a lot more going on in the gray area. So we've spoken a lot about opposites today, but I also want to invite you to consider the gray area in between opposites. And there's another Pixar movie. I've been watching a lot of Pixar lately. There's another Pixar movie that plays with this concept really brilliantly. So if anyone has seen Inside Out, it's got two characters who are foils, as we've discussed. So you've got joy and sadness, and they are the embodiment of these emotions, and they are foils for each other. And for most of the movie, if you haven't watched it, cover your ears, la 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 la. For most of the movie, they believe that they are a dichotomy. You can only be one or the other. But by the end of the movie, they discover that life is richer when there's both. So it's not either or, it's both and. So I thought that's a really good example for you to think about. So as we move into the free writing section, since we have been talking about opposites, maybe what you want to free write next is something that explores opposites but acknowledges the gray area in between them. Yes, okay. So we've got now 30 minutes for you to do whatever you like. So if you've got a project that you are working on, you can do that now so that this can be like a really good warm-up for you to go back into your longer project. If you want to continue working on something that you just developed in these exercises over the last hour, you can do that. If you want to write something completely different, you can do that. And there's no requirements, no pressure at all. And I am going to share some other prompts if you want, I guess, a little bit of guidance for your creativity. So you've got some choices. You don't have to do any of these, as I said, but if you want to, you can choose from this little list. So there's another journaling prompt here. When I was thinking about opposites, I was thinking about my high school nemesis. And not everyone has had a nemesis, but I think most of us have had or know what that feels like. Maybe you were someone's nemesis. So the journaling prompt is about reflecting on that. Have you ever had a nemesis? How were they different from you? But even more importantly, how were they the same? Or you could do just some creative writing. So maybe you want to develop a character or think of a story about someone who can only speak in opposites. So kind of like, what's that movie? Is it Liar Liar or something? Anyway, so there's maybe some magic going on where the character can only speak in a certain way. So play with that if you like. Or you can work from this visual image. And yep, she's got 6 fingers, so thanks AI. So you can use this image here and imagine what she wants, and then write about what happens when she gets the opposite of what she wants. Okay, so those are some prompts for you. Use them, don't use them, whatever you like. And so I'll be quiet now for a nice focused 30 minutes of writing. And then we'll all come back together at the end, and I'll unmute you guys and people can say what they want or ask any questions, and I'll share all the links to the Space to Write socials. So, okay, have fun, and I'll talk to you in 30 minutes. not to break up your flow, but while we're still in the Zoom, if anyone has ideas for stuff they'd like to see in the future with this group, do send me a message on the chat now. I've been discussing with some of you already of other stuff you'd like to see. So just wanted to throw that out there, and now I'll shut up. there's about 5 minutes left. I'm going to switch to the next slide in a few seconds, just so people can get the socials before they leave. So if you do want to screenshot this one, do that now, and then I'll switch to the next slide in a second. Okay, it looks like people are maybe starting to take off now. So there was about maybe 1.5 minutes left of quiet writing, but I thought, let me give you all a chance to speak if you want to. Obviously, don't say anything if you don't want your voice on the recording, because this will go on the YouTube channel. But let me just find my settings. Well, I might have to end the screen share to do that. So yeah, very briefly, this is all the info for our next live stream session, but there's stuff going up on the YouTube channel on a weekly basis. So if you did like this and you want more like creative prompts, then that's the place to go, the YouTube channel. So you'll see all the socials there at the bottom. Everything is kind of a variation on a space to write. So it's either TO, the word, or the number 2, depending on what was available on the platform. And yeah, follow us, and I'd love to see you guys again. So I'm gonna stop this share, so if anyone wants to screen grab it, do that really quick. Lots of lovely comments. I'm glad people have enjoyed it. I enjoyed it too, and I really enjoy coming up with these prompts. They're super fun to make. Okay, stopping the share. Let me give you guys the option. Okay, if anyone wants to say anything or ask any questions, you're able to unmute yourselves now. So feel free to do that. No pressure, of course. Just wanted to give the option. And as I said, some people have been sharing their ideas with me for other stuff they'd like to see. So we might look into doing some maybe more like classes for people who want to learn how to write, because these aren't really classes. This is just a creative space where we can have fun and be weird. So yeah, might look into doing that in the future.
Hank, am I being heard?
Yes, sorry?
Yeah, oh no, just wanted to say thank you. I think I speak for a lot of people that just randomly found this event and had a great time. The prompts were great, and yeah, just wanted to. Typing is cool, but I guess hearing another voice is also important. So thank you very much, and it was great.
Great, thank you. I'm so glad that you found us as well. So hope I can see you at the next one. Okay, anyone else or any questions about anything? Then I guess if not, we can wrap it up there. So as I showed on that previous slide, we're going to be then meeting again in September. So book your place on Meetup. If it does say it's sold out, like there's no spaces left, just send me a message. I'll add you. So sometimes I'm not able to keep an eye on it and keep opening spaces for people. So do message me. There's always a space for you. And yeah, I hope you guys go off and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. See you. Bye.
See you all next time.